My brothers and sisters, let me ask you a question. What would your life look like if you stopped trying to fix everybody else and started fixing you? See, most people are too busy scrolling, comparing, criticizing, and complaining about what others are doing or not doing. And as long as you're focused out there, you're missing the one thing you can actually control you. You don't transform your life by changing the world. You transform your life by changing yourself. Your outer world is always mirroring your inner world, whether you realize it or not. The results you see around you, the relationships you're experiencing, the money you're earning, the opportunities that show up or don't show up, they're all responding to what's happening on the inside of you. Most people are running around trying to fix what's out there. They're trying to change other people. They're trying to force circumstances to shift. They're hoping and wishing for doors to open, but they've never paused long enough to ask themselves this: what's going on inside of me that's creating this? The truth is, your thoughts create your reality, your beliefs shape your behaviors, and your behaviors produce your results. If you believe you're not enough, no matter how hard you work, you'll keep sabotaging opportunities because deep down you feel unworthy of them. If you believe money is evil, you'll keep pushing it away even when you say you want more. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll keep attracting relationships that betray you because your subconscious is working to prove you right. That's why trying to fix things out there is like putting a fresh coat of paint on a crumbling wall. It might look good for a moment, but the cracks are going to show again because you never fix the foundation. Everything you're praying for, everything you're working toward, everything you say you want, it's all waiting for you to align internally. Peace doesn't come from having no problems. Peace comes from having a mind that refuses to be shaken by problems. Prosperity doesn't come from chasing money. It comes from becoming a person who thinks, acts, and makes decisions like someone who knows abundance is their birthright. Love doesn't come from begging someone to treat you right. It comes from becoming someone who loves themselves enough to stop accepting less than they deserve. This is the hard truth most people don't want to hear. It's easier to blame circumstances. It's easier to blame the economy, your parents, your boss, your spouse, or even God. It's harder to look in the mirror and ask, how am I contributing to this? What do I believe that keeps this cycle alive? What am I carrying in my heart that's creating friction in my life? But until you do that, you're going to keep repeating the same patterns in different places, with different people. Transformation doesn't happen when the world changes for you. Transformation happens when you change the way you see the world. The minute you shift internally, the external has to rearrange to match it. That's why two people can be in the same environment, face the same challenges, and yet one thrives while the other struggles. It's not because life played favorites. It's because one of them had cultivated an inner world strong enough to shape their outer world, and the other was still trying to fight battles outside without first winning the battle inside. When you focus on healing, renewing your mind, and building your character, you start showing up differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You see opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You attract people who operate on the same frequency you've elevated to. And the amazing thing is, the more you work on yourself, as it helps us, the less you feel the need to control what's outside of you, because you realize your power was never out there in the first place. It was always in you. Most people spend their entire lives managing everyone else's business except their own. They're watching what other people are doing, criticizing how other people are living, and giving advice they're not even applying to themselves. They're more concerned about fixing someone else's habits than breaking their own cycles. As it helps us, they're more invested in controlling how others show up than mastering how they show up. And they wonder why their lives feel stuck, why they're not moving forward, why they keep running into the same walls over and over again. It's because energy that should have been spent on self-mastery has been wasted on managing what was never theirs to control. You cannot grow when your eyes are always turned outward. You cannot evolve when your energy is scattered in 10 different directions, trying to please, correct, or compete with others. The people who experience the deepest transformation are the who understand that the greatest project they'll ever work on is themselves. The real breakthrough doesn't come when someone else changes, as it comes when you finally stop trying to change them and put all that energy into becoming the highest version of yourself, us. It's tempting to point the finger at other people. It's easier to say, if they would treat me better, I'd be happier. If they worked harder, I'd succeed. If they stopped doing this or started doing that, then my life would finally feel the way I want it to feel. That mindset is a trap. It gives away all your power. As long as your peace depends on other people behaving a certain way, you'll never have peace. As long as your growth depends on others showing up differently, you'll never grow. You weren't created to manage people's decisions. You were created to govern your own soul, your own thoughts, your own actions. When you start focusing on yourself, something shifts. You stop waiting for apologies and start healing your own wounds. You stop trying to get validation and start giving yourself permission to be enough. You stop forcing people to see your value and start building a life that reflects your value. This is where real power is. Power isn't in controlling others. It's in controlling yourself. It's in being so routed in who are that whether others support you or not, you still rise. Whether they approve or not, you still walk purpose. Whether they stay or leave, you still keep building. It takes courage to redirect your focus inward. It's uncomfortable to sit with your own patterns, your own flaws, your own limiting beliefs. It's easier to distract yourself by fixing someone else's mess. But until you're willing to look in the mirror and own what's yours, you'll keep repeating cycles that leave you drained and unfulfilled. The work you avoid within you will eventually show up outside of you, and it will demand your attention in ways you can't ignore. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. It's how you break free from codependency. It's how you stop leaking energy into places that don't serve your growth, as it helps us. It's how you move from being reactive to proactive, from surviving to thriving. And the beautiful thing is, when you start mastering yourself, the people and situations around you start to shift naturally. You don't have to force it. You don't have to manipulate it. As you rise, the things that no longer align with your growth will either fall away or rise with you. Discipline is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's easy to dream big, to write down goals, to get inspired by someone else's success. But without discipline, those dreams remain fantasies. Most people know what they need to do to change their lives. They've heard it 100 times. They've read the books, attended the seminars, watched the videos. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is consistency. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the feeling you said it and has faded. Distractions will always present themselves. There will always be another excuse, another crisis, another reason to delay the work, as it helps us. The question is whether you will allow temporary feelings to control permanent results. Discipline requires you to rise above your emotions and act based on commitment, not convenience. It's the ability to say no when your body wants yes, to stay focused when everything around you is calling for your attention, to keep showing up when no one is clapping for you yet. The people who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who mastered the art of doing what's required even when they didn't feel like it. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're making a deposit into your future. You're building a foundation that can hold the weight of the success you desire. You're creating habits that automate progress instead of habits that automate self-sabotage. Discipline is what separates wishful thinking from transformation, as it helps us. It's easy to wish for a better body, but discipline wakes you up early to train when you'd rather sleep. It's easy to wish for financial freedom, but discipline stops you from spending recklessly and teaches you to invest wisely. It's easy to wish for a stronger relationship, but discipline keeps your words gentle when your ego wants to lash out. Distractions, on the other hand, will keep you stuck in cycles. They often disguise themselves as harmless activities or even as responsibilities. The endless scrolling, the unnecessary drama, the constant need to check what others are doing. These things chip away at your focus little by until you wake up one day and realize you've lost years chasing things that didn't even matter. Every minute spent distracted is a minute stolen from your purpose. Every time you choose comfort over discipline, as it helps, you're delaying your own breakthrough. The reason discipline feels hard is because it requires you to master yourself. It requires you to govern your impulses, to silence the inner voice that whispers, "It doesn't matter," or "You can do it tomorrow." But the truth is, tomorrow is just a mirror of what you do today. If you don't change your pattern now, tomorrow won't look any different. The life you're dreaming of is not going to meet you halfway. It's waiting for you on the other side of the habits you've been avoiding. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent enough to outlast the excuses. Every small act of discipline compounds over time and creates momentum. And once you taste the results of discipline, distractions lose their appeal. The very things that used to pull you away from your goals no longer satisfy because you've tasted progress. And nothing feels better than seeing your life move forward because you choose to stay the course. You cannot elevate your life while holding on to the same mindset that created your struggles. The level of thinking that produced your current situation is not the level of thinking that will take you to the next one. Every breakthrough begins with a mental shift. The patterns in your life are rooted in the patterns of your mind. If you keep thinking the way you've always thought, you'll keep doing what you've always done, and you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. Change requires you to challenge the beliefs you've been carrying, many of which you didn't even choose consciously. They were handed to you by family culture, past experiences, and repeated to the point where they became your truth. It's not enough to set bigger goals if your mindset is still small. You can't plant seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of confidence. You can't operate out of fear and expect to attract abundance. You can't speak limitation over your life and expect expansion. The thoughts you rehearse in your mind every day are programming your actions, and your actions are shaping your future, us. Until you change the programming, the results will always return to their default setting. This is why people who win the lottery often end up broke again within a few years. They change their bank account, but never change their mindset. So their habits pulled them back to what felt familiar. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, you're building a wall in your mind that blocks you from seeing what's possible. Every time you say, this is just the way I am, you're choosing to stay bound to a version of yourself you've outgrown. Elevation requires you to let go of the old stories. The story that says you're not smart enough, the story that says you're not worthy of love, the story that says success is for other people but not for you. As long as you cling to these narratives, you'll keep finding evidence to confirm them because there's wire to seek validation for what it already believes. A transformed life begins with a transformed mind. That means questioning the thoughts that have been running on autopilot. It means replacing scarcity with gratitude, fear with faith, and self-doubt with self-compassion. It means expanding your vision of what's possible and refusing to settle for a reality that doesn't align with the greatness inside of you. Elevation isn't comfortable because it requires you to step outside the familiar. It feels risky because the old mindset wants you to stay in survival mode. But survival is not the same as living. Surviving keeps you breathing. Elevation makes you soar. The next level of your life demands a new level of thinking. You can't keep replaying the same negative patterns and expecting doors to open. You can't keep seeing yourself as a victim and expect to move in victory. You can't keep saying one day and expect that day to magically arrive. The shift happens when you decide to stop living in reaction to the past and start living in alignment with the future you want to create. That future requires a mindset of disciplines, resilientude, gratitude, vision. It requires you to guard your thoughts like a gatekeeper, allowing in only what strengthens you and rejecting what weakens you. The most powerful prison is not made of bricks or bars, but of beliefs. The most liberating breakthrough is not in changing what's around you, but in changing what's within you. When you upgrade your mindset, you automatically upgrade your choices. And when you upgrade your choices, you upgrade your life without forcing the process. Transformation flows naturally from the inside out. When you grow, everything connected to you grows. The energy you carry sets the tone for every environment you step into. The decisions you make create a ripple effect that touches everyone and everything in your life. You are the common denominator in all your relationships, your business, your health, and your finances. If you remain stagnant, everything tied to you will feel the weight of that stagnation. But the moment you decide to grow, you begin to elevate the atmosphere around you. People often want their circumstances to change while staying the same themselves. They want better relationships without becoming a better partner. They want financial increase without increasing their discipline and an understanding of wealth. They want opportunities to find them while they're still operating in fear and doubt. Growth is what unlocks these desires. You attract what you are prepared for. As you rise, you become a magnet for higher quality experiences, higher quality connections, and higher quality results. Growth is not just about personal satisfaction. It's about positioning yourself to lift others because you cannot pour from an empty vessel. When you grow in self-awareness, you stop projecting your pain onto the people around you. When you grow in emotional intelligence, you create healthier spaces where trust and communication can thrive. When you grow in your mindset, you stop bringing a poverty mentality into situations that require abundance thinking. As you grow in discipline, You stop passing down cycles of cows and inconsistency to the next generation. Every area of your life is either being or nourished elected by who you are becoming. The more you evolve, the more everything tied to you evolves with you. Growth requires intentionality. It doesn't happen by accident. You don't wake up one day and stumble into a stronger character or a sharper vision. It comes from the daily choice to leave behind old patterns that no longer serve you. It comes from refusing to settle for mediocrity when excellence is calling your name. Growth means you're willing to be uncomfortable, to confront your blind spots, and to stretch yourself into unfamiliar territory. It's not always easy, but the fruit of growth always outweighs the pain of staying the same as you rise. There will be people who don't understand your growth. Some will resist it because it forces them to confront their own lack of progress. Some will criticize you because your evolution makes them uncomfortable in their comfort zones. But growth is not selfish. When you step into your highest self, you give others permission to do the same. You set a new standard in your family, your community, and your circle of influence. As the light you carry begins to expose and dissolve the darkness that has lingered for too long, growth is not about becoming better than others. It's about becoming better than who you were yesterday. As you grow, as it helps us, you'll notice that the things you used to tolerate no longer have a place in your life. The distractions that once consumed you lose their power. The chaos that once surrounded you begins to quiet down because it cannot survive in the environment of someone committed to elevation. Growth creates space for alignment, and alignment brings everything into harmony with your purpose. Focus on becoming the person who attracts what you're praying for. So many people spend their energy chasing things instead of transforming into the version of themselves that would naturally draw those things in. They ask for love while still carrying bitterness. They ask for financial abundance while holding a scarcity mindset. They ask for opportunities while avoiding the work that would prepare them to handle those opportunities. The truth is you don't get what you want, you get what you are aligned with. The level of character, discipline, and mindset you carry determines the level of blessings you can sustain when they show up. Everything you're asking for requires a version of you that thinks differently, moves differently, and makes decisions from a higher place. If you want peace, you must be someone who refuses to let costs govern your emotions. If you want love, you must become someone who embodies love and sets healthy boundaries. If you want success, you must become someone who values consistency over comfort and vision over instant gratification. It's not about striving or forcing results. It's about alignment. When you are aligned internally, the external begins to reflect that alignment without you having to chase it. The reason most people feel stuck is because they're trying to receive with hands that aren't prepared to hold. They're asking for promotion, but still thinking like an employee. They're asking for influence, but still reacting out of insecurity. They're asking for overflow, but still living with habits that leak what they already have. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled by luck, chance, or even prayer alone. It's filled by the work of becoming. You cannot skip the process of growth and expect to sustain the reward of growth. Becoming is not always glamorous. It requires honesty about the parts of you that need to be refined. It requires letting go of old identities that kept you safe but small. It requires shedding the mindset that clings to limitation and fear. You can't bring your old ways into a new season and expect it to flourish. Every next level of your life will demand a next level of you. That means developing habits that align with where you're going, not where you've been. It means thinking long term when your emotions want to react short term. It means holding yourself accountable to a standard even when nobody's watching. This process of becoming is not about earning worthiness. You are already worthy. It's about preparing your character to sustain the weight of the blessings you desire. Many people sabotage good things because they weren't prepared internally to handle them. They get the relationship but haven't healed their wounds, so they repeat the same toxic cycles. They get the opportunity but lack the discipline to steward it. So it slips through their fingers. They get the wealth but still carry a poverty consciousness, so they spend it faster than they received it. When you focus on becoming, you position yourself to not only receive, but also keep and multiply what's been entrusted to you. The beautiful thing about this journey is that as you become the highest version of yourself, you stop feeling the need to chase. You stop grasping, forcing, or striving. You radiate a confidence and peace that draws the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources into your life. The work you do internally speaks louder than words or effort. It creates a frequency that everything meant for you can recognize and respond to